Hello, my name is Iana Kazan and I'm a third-year student at Cluj School of Public Health, Romania. And today I'm going to talk to you about a systematic review on the relationship between breastfeeding and postpartum depression. While searching the literature for articles, I have observed that the effect of breastfeeding on the risk of postpartum depression is not well understood. And some studies suggest that breastfeeding has a positive influence on postpartum depression. Others state that breastfeeding difficulties can lead to postpartum depression, while others concluded that postpartum depression has an impact on the breastfeeding duration. The hypothesis of this study is that postpartum depression has a negative effect on breastfeeding, and the main objective of the study is to provide an overview of the research documenting the relationship between breastfeeding and postpartum depression. Now I'm going to talk to you about the methods of this study, and the present study analyzed published articles on breastfeeding and postpartum depression, and the search was performed within the PubMed database, so I used only one database, and I searched for the articles by using the exact phrases breastfeeding and postpartum depression, and or breastfeeding and postnatal depression, since postpartum depression is also called postnatal depression. Only articles which contained these exact phrases in the title were selected, and other inclusion criteria were articles had to be written in English, they had to be published in scientific journals regardless of their publication date, and I had to have access to the full electronic text of the articles. Then those articles which were selected were included into Reference Manager Mendeley Desktop, and their abstracts were scanned in order to test their relevance. Now I'm going to speak to you about a little bit about the results of this study. And after the first search, 20 articles were found, but only 14 were included in the systematic review based on the inclusion criteria which I have mentioned earlier. Half of the analyzed studies supported the hypothesis that postnatal depression has a significant negative impact on breastfeeding duration, or Now I'm going to speak a little bit about the results of the study. After the first search, 20 articles were found, but only 14 were included in the systematic review based on the inclusion criteria that I have mentioned earlier. Also, I have found out that half of the analyzed studies supported the hypothesis that postnatal depression has a significant negative impact on breastfeeding duration, and also that postnatal depression lowers the prevalence of breastfeeding. Moreover, one study showed that mothers who suffer from depressive symptoms may experience less confidence in their ability to breastfeed. Another one concluded that assistance with breastfeeding issues should be included in the management of postnatal depression, especially because of the fact that breastfeeding issues can lead to postpartum depression. And the other half of the studies that I have analyzed sustain the idea that breastfeeding is a factor which prevents postpartum depression. The limitations of this study are that there is a very low number of articles on this topic, and the fact that the search was limited only to articles published in English. Another limitation is the fact that the search of the literature was done by only one author, and so was the abstraction of the data. Regarding the implications for the future, taking into consideration that the relationship between breastfeeding and postpartum depression is not clear, the importance of breastfeeding and the increasing burden of postnatal depression, future research is needed in this field in order to get a more comprehensive image regarding the relationship between these two concepts. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.